Hello and welcome to Springboard, your virtual university. My name is Albert Ocran, welcoming you to Ghana's foremost developmental program and that place where the greatest minds in the world converge. Springboard is brought to you by the Springboard Roadshow Foundation and proudly sponsored by MTN Ghana and the Enterprise Group with media support from our friends at the Multimedia Group and the Graphic Communications Group. So today we continue our conversation about exploring untapped resources. And the thinking is very simple. Something close by you may have been ignored in your quest to optimize your potential or returns as a person, as a company, as a church, as a nation, and as a continent. Where are these low-hanging fruits? Where are these untapped resources that we can leverage to make our lives better and to accomplish our various aspirations? What we share today will be beneficial to individuals, startups, multinational companies, for nations, and even for our continent as a whole, and by extension, different continents. We are talking about the universality of marketing. That's the big word, marketing. Maybe my alternative subtitle will be Why Marketing is That Miracle You've Been Praying For. I think it's a nice title.
It is. It's totally on point.
Yeah.
We are miracle workers.
I have the pleasure of being joined today by somebody we love here at Springboard. Undoubtedly one of our most consistent faculty here at the Springboard, because he always brings clarity and direction to our conversations here at Springboard. He's one of Africa's finest marketers with over 25 years experience in marketing. Apart from being a chartered marketer, Professor Robert Hinson holds a bachelor's, a master's, and a doctorate degree in marketing from the University of Ghana, and the second doctorate from the University of Aalborg. I think I remember that one. Yes. When he went off to Denmark and missed it for a couple of years.
Absolutely.
He's globally sought after and has spoken on 5 different continents on this all-important subject. He is the Pro-Vice Chancellor at the Ghana Communication Technology University. Our big friend here at Springboard, Professor Robert Hinson. Prof, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Absolute pleasure to be here.
How do you find our title, The Miracle You May Have Been Praying For, Marketing?
Because I'm African, I think your title is totally correct, because I think Africa can get on a springboard if it utilized marketing better. I think that even institutions that are doing well can accelerate their progress if they utilize marketing better. So yes, I think at individual, I think at corporate, I think at national, I think at sub-regional, I think at continental level, marketing is actually the panacea for Africa's development quagmire. And I can explain that in several ways if you allow me, from tourism to trade to investment to increased export capacity to enhance international. Look, this whole thing about Africa continental free trade area, for me, the missing discussion is the role of marketing in this whole discussion. Because, Albert, when you say we have 1-point-something billion strong market, we are going to export to each other more, and all you think about is trade barriers, logistical challenges, finance, given. However, how about customer experience issues? How about brand communication issues? I always say that, listen, if you are in Serekunda in the Gambia and you received an order to supply 1 million sandals to a businessman in Kumasi, the order comes, Albert. Somebody takes the order, refuses to relay it. There are blockages in the communication. Eventually, the order comes late. It's not to specification. Order is rejected. Gambian businessman incurs cost, falls flat on his face. So the Africa Continental Free Trade Area platform is fine, but because of a lack of appreciation of marketing and marketing sophistication, the business potential is never realized. So for me, trust me, even in church, marketing can solve a lot of issues, because I see a lot of challenges even with church administration, church service delivery. And if marketing was appreciated better, I think we could be doing much better. I mean, marketing solves a lot of issues, I think.
What are the emerging trends from observing the globe,
Yeah.
especially in recent times with all the disruptions. What are
Absolutely.
the emerging trends that make this position you've taken even more imperative?
Absolutely. So when you take issues around tech, artificial intelligence, personalization issues around machine learning, tech has become a big catalyst for marketing success, undoubtedly. So you need, for instance, to understand how to take large amounts of data, mine them, and then create stylized approaches, which we now call personalization in marketing. No, I mean, issues around conversational marketing. So things like Siri, Google Assistant. I mean, I saw a BBC documentary recently where it was being argued that the robots were answering better than the human beings. So there was a sense in which when you bring your issues to work and you're misbehaving on the phone, you're a liability compared to a robot that's been trained to answer in a routine manner, take requests. So tech is crucial now for marketing success. That said, first principles still matter. Right. I think first principles totally matter. I mean, I was chatting with somebody yesterday who said he wanted me to do some big training program on AI in marketing. I said, my brother, I'll do it. But here's what it is. If you go to ChatGPT today and you say, give me a marketing template for growing my church, it will give you a marketing template. When the template is delivered to you, how will you execute it? Are you going to bring the robot from the computer to come and now walk around easily? No. So I think that you still need to have a good sense. I was doing research for this show and I was looking at companies that have done well with marketing. Jumia came up as a big e-commerce platform that was leveraging marketing for explosive success. Tech is an enabler for Jumia. But in December last year, they closed shop in about 6 or 7 countries. So Jumia food is gone in about 6 or 7 countries. And they are focusing on physical goods. So tech is good as an enabler, but you still need a lot of marketing discipline, understand how to build a marketing blueprint, understand issues around route to market optimization, understand that customer experience, the new marketing. You need all that knowledge, and then you leverage the tech to now create customer delight and therefore more revenue.
Let me align on this. So recently, we happened to be at the New Wine Temple, yourself present, when Jerry Ajololo delivered his session.
Absolutely.
And interestingly, on talent, and interestingly, he said something about interviewing a number of presidents. Absolutely. And finding out the night before.
Absolutely.
And the number of hours he spent using technology to find out this president.
Absolutely.
What has he said in the past 6 months?
Absolutely.
What about this other president?
Absolutely.
And he said when they changed the panel, it disturbed him because he wanted to not just have a conversation with them,
indeed,
but to come to that conversation with clarity about how does this president talk?
Absolutely.
How different is that from the next president?
Absolutely.
And so if it is 9 presidents, researching into each of the 9 and what they have said recently.
Absolutely.
That level, that raising of the bar is obviously unfamiliar in several terrains. But tell us why that level of understanding of your customers is now where the world is heading.
Fair point. Because successful marketing today is granular marketing. So for instance, you are a university. You've been around for 100 years. You've graduated 800,000 students. But you have no sense of what industries they are in, what is the male to female ratio, what is the public to private sector ratio. Now, if you don't have such granular access to the back-end data, how do you leverage a database like this for alumni donations, using them to form a certain executive group that comes to teach your students? So nowadays, marketing is very granular. So if you don't have a system for amassing large amounts of data, you will only be doing 40 to 50% capacity. You will never be 100%. So nowadays, modern marketers, they are obsessed with data. And that's why tech is so important, because with appropriate AI tools, you can amass large amounts of data and utilize it for marketing ends. But like I was saying earlier, this Jerry example, for instance, he understood the importance of the information for executing at the customer interface. You see, marketing doesn't mean you leave your brain in the bathroom, otherwise you'll be in trouble, because if you don't understand what the end goal is, you won't even know which AI tools to use. Absolutely. I was in Uganda last year and I joined a panel on AI and marketing, and I said, look, when you are in sales, the AI requirements are different. When you are in customer experience, the AI requirements are different. When you are in trade and distribution, The AI requirements are there. So you need to still have a solid understanding of the marketing domain you're operating in. Then you can bring the technology enablements to finesse it and get optimal outcomes. It is what it is.
What does it take, Prof, to create? I had a recent experience that influenced this interview, and give me the permission to, in 1 minute, tell you what influenced the choice of this subject.
Absolutely.
So Comfort and I found ourselves in the country very far from here.
Correct.
And went to the restaurant in the hotel, normal, wearing very slamming, cool. And we got to the entrance of the hotel and the restaurant. And they said, "Hi, are you new here?" And
Absolutely.
I said, "Oh, that's my boss. She's the boss."
Absolutely.
It was just a relaxed, "Which country are you from?" You mentioned, and then we went into the restaurant.
Absolutely.
Somehow, in choosing where we'll sit in the restaurant, whether indoors or outdoors,
yes,
the person who was taking us there told us the temperature outside versus the temperature inside.
They have to know.
The experience outside versus the experience inside.
Absolutely.
To help us determine which one we'll take.
Absolutely.
But the second part, which was the worst, was that the next day when we went to the same restaurant for breakfast, right from the person sitting at the lobby on your way to the restaurant, when you saw, I would say, the boss and the boss woman.
There you go.
I paused.
There you go.
Everyone in the whole value chain
data
knew
leveraging.
about the boss.
They're leveraging data.
And the boss woman.
You see.
But Prof, before you land, what killed me, crowd, which is why I started scratching my head and saying, I must talk to Prof.
Go ahead.
Is that everyone in that hotel was so nice.
Absolutely.
And then they made extra effort to tell you, listen, if you need any help, call the office or call this number and mention my name.
Absolutely.
Mention my name.
Absolutely.
Mention my name.
Absolutely.
So I was wondering, why is that so important? They would actually even give you a card and say, this is my name in case you need help.
That is it.
Only for me to get to check out and realize that the feedback form that came did not only ask you about your experience in the hotel, but did any particular staff impress you?
It is what it is.
And by the time I was checking out, I knew names of people, including the restaurant person who had.
It is what it is.
So I was able to say, this person was exceptional. This person, and guess what? Apparently, it is big in determining their promotion.
Absolutely.
I'm still here saying, what are we doing?
And that's the way it should be, Albert. Look, yesterday night I was watching some talking point discussion about productivity in the public sector. And one guy was saying that he doesn't want to hear about low productivity because the human beings in the public sector are being supervised. So why are you blaming them when there's a whole hierarchy that should be supervising at intermittent levels all the way down to the cleaner? And I said that makes sense. Albert, please, so here's what it is.
How do we create that kind of
marketing?
organization?
Customer experience is the new marketing.
Okay.
So all forward-looking marketing nowadays culminates in positive customer experiences.
Okay.
So the end goal in today's world is that marketing well done is customer experience well delivered. Once that mindset permeates an organization, Albert, at every critical customer touch point, data is being gathered. If you sneeze, they've collected it. If you smile, they've collected it. If you call comfort bottling, they've collected it. And they use
I mean, now that you say it, something else strikes me.
Yes.
So you sit down, but what was bothering me is that it was a very, very big hotel.
It is what it is.
Full.
We don't care.
And yet, when you sat down, the person who came to serve you is saying, do you want the same thing you ordered yesterday?
There you go.
And the person mentions what you ordered, how you wanted
there
it,
you go.
without this, no yolk. I mean, are you crazy? The guy was able to tell exactly what you ordered yesterday.
You see,
do you want the same thing today? How did he do it?
And the paradox about your statement about was a big hotel was that in Africa, even small hotel with empty restaurant, you will still be molested. So you wonder what is going on. I mean, there's nobody there and you can't serve me well. Like, what is going on? But it's shocking. And it's because there's no marketing alignment in a multiplicity of Africa-based organizations. Because if the chief executive gets it, the C-suite gets it, the boardroom gets it, everybody is aligned from CEO to shop floor. That's the kind of marketing sophistication we now need. So you need to have a system where there's a certain unwavering focus on the customer, a certain collection of what constitutes delight to them, and then feeding back into a marketing system that now creates solutions to delight that customer.
Is this a science or an art?
It's a science, basically. It's a science because if you don't have clear KPIs, clear data points, clear analysis tools, you understand the idiosyncrasies of the customer. So I remember when I was in the university, marketers, for those who don't like maths, it's like you can't calculate, so you must go and do marketing. And ironically, all the biggest marketing scholars come from physics, chemistry. I mean, Philip Kotler is like the biggest marketing professor in the world. His background is maths and physics. He's 93 and still writing marketing textbooks. So marketing is a lot of science. There's a creativity and an art part of it. But in today's world, with the kind of data amounts we are dealing with and the kind of text of schedule we have today, it's science. So if you don't have a system where you're consistently using data to create, and the customer experiences, please, just for the record, it's not just to end users. Even if you are working through intermediaries or distributors, they are your customers as well. So my friend Christopher Caesar, who just came back to be MD of Unilever again, if Christopher doesn't watch his trade, doesn't watch the distribution, doesn't look at the channel intermediaries, his customers will not do well in the market. I saw a guy on LinkedIn today being congratulated. UAC Foods, Nigerian MD, took over last year. Company was making losses. He's turned it around and his staff were eulogizing him. And then he said, in the video, he said, I'm very competitive, and I'm always looking at the numbers. I want to know what number our brands are at every day. I was like, wow. Send the guy a request to link up. He responded in 5 minutes. So I said, are you multinational? UAC, that's like Unilever. He said, we are a local company, but we export. I was like, wow, keep up the good work. Because I felt proud that this was a made in Nigeria company that was doing so well, improving market share, return to profitability, and they are producing not just for the continent, but for global markets as well. This is somebody we should engage. But it's marketing that brings the success. Look, in Africa, we talk a lot about...
You just said something in passing that I wouldn't let you escape without.
Go ahead.
What did you say? You reached out?
I reached out to him. Because I was so impressed by his story that I reached out and I said, hey, why are you there? He said, I'm there. I said, okay. So your company, global, he said, look. I said, wow, okay, then we can be friends. That's it.
You've not met him before.
No.
You read the story, you reached out.
That's it. He's in my network now. If I've logged him somewhere, I'll need him in about 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, I just found him this morning.
This intentionality in building networks,
yes.
Would you call that part of your armor as a person in marketing? And why?
It should be part of every modern person's armor.
Not just a marketer.
No. You see, marketing is a balm of Gilead for every human being. I don't care what functional area you are in, whether you're in human capital, finance, you're a bishop, you're an archbishop. Marketing is what keeps you relevant and sustains you for a long time.
So the universality is a good description.
You are in your God year at ICGs.
Amen.
It's Genesis 1:1. If God was not a brilliant exhibition of what works, why would we follow him today? That is marketing 101. You demonstrate a pathway that makes sense and we all come and follow. Reverend Otabu was speaking about 10-year life plan. He said there was one that was for 20 years. ICGs was at halfway. So he was going to do a 4-part series on how to do a 10-year life plan. Clearly, you must understand what I do. He spoke about humanistic view, fatalistic view. He said the biblicist view is the way to go. He went to Proverbs 16. The verse 3 says, commit your plans to the Lord, they will succeed. Marketing is about planning, developing routes to market, executing flawlessly, delighting customers, and the profit will come.
Let's do a bit of a case study, randomly. Yes. I love to look at what is working and see what can we do, because sometimes I find that, Prof, when you talk about some of these brilliant examples of things that people are doing, I found that the executives sometimes fold their arms and say, you know what, we can't do it.
It's too much.
It's too much. And so I sometimes want us to take a case study of an example that they can see and relate to and say, this is a beautiful one. Why can't I do it? Or what made them realize the aspirations, and then the success becomes a carrot for them to pursue. So let's randomly pick a couple of interesting things you've observed that we can use as
you see, I've seen you eulogizing Salom over and over and over again. But Salom is a recent phenomenon. I had the blessing 25 years ago of working with Ariba before it became Spaceful. So I can use that brand journey to explain to you how. I remember there was
That's
a time,
MTN.
MTN. I mean, this is my originate days 25 years ago. And I remember there was a time when there was a shortage of one-touch chips in this country. So you couldn't find the chips. And those were the days of Mobitel and so on and so forth. And I remember those days, Space Phone, these were the days of Fuad Chalabi and the rest. We did one activation in Legon, Albert. I was right in the center of it. 1 week activation, we sold 1,300 new chips. And this Ariba Space Phone MTN is one brilliant example of a brand that has shown fidelity to marketing in all its various manifestations, from distribution discipline to brand execution, customer experience issues, investing in the infrastructure that delivers the service. So when you take an MTN, you know, my book is from 12 years ago, this service marketing book. And in marketing, we hypothesize, one of the hypotheses is that service marketing has 7 pillars. So it's product, price, place, promotion, fiscal evidence, people, and processes. Now, if you are going to succeed today, to the extent that everything is a service, you need to have, for instance, product discipline. But you should know when the product is dying, needs rejuvenation, needs restoration, needs augmentation. Your pricing should be world class. You see, in life, not everything is meant to be cheap. Modern marketers today sell value more than price. So if the value takeout is good, the pricing can be premium. You need world-class communication. I mean, MTN is one of the most well-communicated brand by far across all the markets in which it works. I know MTN in several markets. Your fiscal evidence must be world-class. When you go to an MTN experience center, you don't need to guess you are in an MTN zone. It's yellow and it's going. And country after country, I see a certain homogeneity in the way the brand is displayed. People is the fifth one. Marketing dies or grows on the back of quality human beings. I've always said that people feel marketers are people you just throw into a certain room because like you can't calculate, so go and do marketing. You're missing the point, because marketing itself has so many sub-specializations. You should know what you are hiring for. Then we have issues around processes. So your back-end stuff, I just spoke about it, must be totally world-class. Then your distribution quality must be unmatched. Nowadays, because of tech, digital distribution is even more important than brick and mortar distribution. So you must have a very good system for distributing in ways that outmatch your competition than you do. So for me, MTN as a brand is a good example of what works. Now, before somebody listening will say, but Bob, why did you have to use a multinational brand? No problem. There are local brands on the M-Pesa, for instance, from Safaricom is one excellent example of a Kenyan brand that also worked in brick and mortar and digital formats and took over the East African market. So M-Pesa is also a good example of a brand that has grown locally, that has done well and is exploding. So there are good examples all across the African continent you can look to. But all said, Albert, please, I want to respectfully recommend that buy good marketing talent. Buy good marketing talent. Marketing talent matters because when your marketing team is sound, conceptually, contextually, they will more than deliver. But if the marketing team is suspect, then you get into. So marketing talent matters for marketing, excellent marketing outputs.
Prof, let me push you even a bit further. I mean, imagine that, and I want to start from an organization that is not doing well. Imagine that somebody
and the enterprise brand as well. I could use that and talk for another 2 hours, but we can go on. Yes.
So, Prof, imagine that somebody is listening right now and saying, you've provoked me because as a CEO, listening to you, I can see the gaps immediately.
Plenty.
In my setup, or that as a senior pastor, a general overseer, a head of the political party, a head of a non-for-profit, I can see the gaps immediately. What do you do when you employ a marketing talent, top of the range, but the existing staff that hold the other key portfolios totally lack a marketing orientation and do not even understand why the service delivery is the big obsession of the boss?
Absolutely.
What do you do?
I spent the last 2-3 years speaking about the fact that world-class marketing heads, their number one job is to pivot the whole C-suite towards marketing. That's their number one job. So get the CEO, convert him. CFO, convert. Chief Human Capital Officer, convert. Chief Information Technology Officer, convert. Because you see, Once you convert them, then they'll start aligning towards customer experience, pivot towards the customer. But you don't align them by just going to speak big English. Here's what I recommend. Do a quick marketing audit today. And the gaps you say a CEO might be seeing now, let the head of marketing codify it. And then explain why an interconnected C-suite, a customer-facing C-suite, will deliver returns over and above what they are making now. Once that revelation hits, everybody will be aligned. So I keep telling my marketing friends that sometimes we fail the profession because we can't sell the universality and the utility of the function to the C-suite. So what do they see us as? Money spenders, golf tournament promoters, this one promote. So they see you as cost centers. No revenue comes from you. Meanwhile, it's the marketing investments that bring the revenue. Sometimes not short term, but ultimately the return shows. But you need to show the model and show what the return on investment will be.
I read a book several years ago that I love very much. It was Focus by Al Rice. It's a marketing book.
Yeah.
In chapter 1, he said the CEO of every company is the chief marketing officer.
Irrevocably. Sir, I didn't want to say because I know a lot of CEOs who may be watching. So now that I said, let me run with it.
Explain what that means.
What that means is that the CEO of every institution is the embodiment of the corporate brand in the most positive ways possible. So anytime the CEO shows up, the best of the brand shows up. What that means is that to internal customer audiences and external customer audiences, you are the best walking, living representation of the corporate brand. What does that mean? It means that you set a marketing example which is easily copied within the C-suite. Once the C-suite, they all become marketing clones of the CEO, it then permeates downwards, and percolates all the way to the least person in the organization. But when you find that the CEO is removed from this marketing thing I just spoke about, then the marketing head is always knocking their heads, trying to explain why marketing matters. So I agree with you. And I had a lecturer several years back who used to slang. It was called Dr. Kwade. He also said the CEO is the number one salesperson in the organization. And it is what it is. I mean, like, if the CEO is not the number one salesperson, then nobody has a good example to look up to. The Bible is clear on how the oil works. That it's beautiful when brothers dwell together in unity because it's like the oil that flows from the top of the priest's head through the beard into the garment. The top of the priest's head is where the market excellence should be. Then it flows down through the C-suite and percolates the whole organization.
So the big question I'll ask you to answer when we come back from this break, because it is what it is, as to borrow your words,
yes.
Favorite words.
Yes.
How do you, as a marketing head,
yes,
employed as such,
yes,
and given the title, the responsibility,
yes,
and the budget,
yes,
convert a CEO who
yes,
does not even see the sense in what you are saying,
that is
or
true,
the value of what you are saying,
that is true,
and does not see marketing as the engine
yes,
of the operation of that entity. It doesn't
yes,
matter what they produce. How do you then convert somebody whose focus is totally elsewhere and is wondering marketing is like an add-on,
yes,
and not the centerpiece,
absolutely,
of this conversation? We'll talk about that when we come back.
I'll be waiting.
And then how to also leverage these thoughts across every breathing entity,
yes,
be they a church,
yes,
a political party,
a nation,
government,
yes,
a nation,
yes,
and whether smiling or being a friendly people,
yes,
is enough in this very highly competitive world.
Absolutely.
If you just joined us, this is Springboard, your virtual university. My guest, Professor Robert Hinson, and you can guess why. We are talking about the universality of marketing in our quest to explore untapped resources that we could leverage at all levels to make our lives better. Springboard is brought to you by the Springboard Roadshow Foundation and proudly sponsored by MTN Ghana and the Enterprise Group, with media support from the Multimedia Group and the Graphic Communications Group. Talking about the Enterprise Group, let me just mention our advantage tip for the day is on why you need a personal pension plan. My short answer to that one is that when you retire, you don't want to be broke. But the official answer to that one is that retirement is a period in your life where you no longer have the luxury of earned income. And so in preparation for that, whether you are in the formal or informal sector, an individual retirement plan ensures that you have an added advantage that offers you financial stability and security. And that is why you must have a personal pension plan. To find out how to have it, call Enterprise on 030-263-4777. Email info@myenterprisegroup.io. Enterprise definitely is your advantage. When we come back, let's go a bit more into how to turn around an organization that doesn't even see marketing as a critical success factor in their operations. Please don't go away.
Hello? Bye.
Well, everybody's heard about the bird. Bird, bird, a bird is the word of the law. Bird, bird, bird is the word of the law. Don't you know about the bird? Well, everybody knows that the bird is the word of the law. Bird, bird, a bird is the word of the law. Everybody says about the bird, 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 bird. At the first to break, bird, bird, bird. At the first to break, the first to break, bird.
To consider the implications.
Hello? Everybody knows that the bird is the word of the bird. A bird, a bird.
Whether it's 1924, 2024, or 2124, we've always known that you are driven by your sense of safety and well-being. It is what drives us to see you through from start to finish, from small to big. And in the last 100 years, as you have evolved, so have we also expanded to serve you in many ways. From cradle to grave, with expertise in insurance, life, pensions, properties, health, and for those beautiful, memorable goodbyes. It's 2024, and in all our markets, our pedigree is recognized, our strength respected, our expertise valued, and our solutions sought by all who desire an advantage in life. Experience the time-tested and truly trusted 100 years legacy of Ghana's oldest insurer. Take charge of your future now. Insurance, life, pensions, property management, funeral services, health insurance. Enterprise, your advantage.
This be me, Kobe, aka Kobe Boga, KB for short. And this is my sweetheart, Obahima. Today, I get big surprise for her. Charlie, gone are the days I couldn't spoil my girl. Now I'm engaged to the woman of my dreams. Don't just look at my success. To get here, I had to follow the process. Out of nowhere, I lost my job. But I believe in humble beginnings. I got an idea that I knew I could grow. I started from a small setup, then invested in growing my own coconuts. I then grew my product lines. Now, I sell to many supermarkets in the country. Fellow young Ghanaians, trust the process and keep hope alive.
Take advantage of agribusiness through the Ghana Grows program. Ghana Grows, Hope Day.
Welcome back to Springboard, your virtual university, and to this conversation about the universality of marketing as we focus on exploring untapped resources at all levels in our lives. My guest for today, Professor Robert Hinson, helping us to unpack why marketing is the miracle you need, the panacea you need to transform whatever endeavor that you are involved in. So far, we've been talking about the fact that it must not be a one-person endeavor in the organization. It must run from top to bottom. And it's a science. It's not something that you just wish into place or go and impose some one-two things, no, and then suddenly you become a marketing-oriented organization. He's used the 7 Ps in service marketing to show us why MTN, for example, is a good case study of all 7 being aligned and in place. Prof, so Pushing on from there, I want to ask you a question about a company that doesn't have the alignment across board.
Yes, please.
Speak to your colleague marketers. If you are head of marketing in an organization and you find that it is not a shared aspiration across the organization, there's even sometimes pushback when you are trying to explain the need, what do you do? And where does the pushback come from, if I may ask?
So let me give you a practical example. You are the CEO of a company and your head of marketing came and said you needed 1.7 million CDs for a campaign for a new bank product. By new, I mean the world has never seen the product before. So the MD says, do a business case, you do something, you send it. He says you give 1.2, you take it. Then around Good Friday, he calls and says, the numbers they are showing me, the uptake is slow. What's going on? And they are like, oh, really? The really already is the problem. Because it means that you're not even looking at the case. You're just moving around, spending the money. So he says, really? So you go and you come and say, oh, it looks like because of this economic turbulence, you didn't quite estimate the uptake. So give me half year. Half year numbers come, you are trending at 56% of the targets you are given. So here's the challenge, Albert. I have an issue. The campaign should not have been about uptake because it's a brand new product. So the campaign should have been about brand introduction, brand information, because in the brand life cycle, this is the initial phase. So you don't do conversion from the beginning. But because sometimes there's no clarity in communicating the objectives, you set up one expectation, whereas the investment could not meet the expectation from the beginning. What am I trying to say? All marketing investments are built on a cogent business case. And it's the job of marketers to understand the science behind how these cases are built. So that whether it's a trade marketing campaign, a B2C campaign, a B2G campaign, the science behind it is sound. So that even if, and I know we're in the days of posters and predictions, so they say plus or minus. So even if you are off by 2 or 3 plus or minus points, you are fine because you are trending around what you said you would trend. But if there are wide disparities, then it becomes an indictment on the marketing function in its ability to predict favorable outcomes. You know, when you invited me to this program, I did a global poll. And I told my colleagues in Africa and outside that I'm going on the famous Springboard show. And I've hypothesized a Hinson marketing practice model I want them to validate for me. So I took each of the letters, M-A-R-K-E-T-I-N, and I said, for the modern marketer who must make an impact, this is what you should mean. Then they came with feedback, and I factored that feedback into this model. Let me share it so that the marketers
Before
can
you
listen.
share the model. Anytime you talk and I'm watching you like this.
Yes, please.
I'm picking lessons from the unintended lessons that you are sharing.
Absolutely.
So you develop a presentation.
Yes.
For what one will call a media engagement.
Absolutely.
Some other marketer become a CTA.
No.
Not fully prepared.
No. You have to validate.
Develop a model.
Yes.
And you're saying that in addition to developing the model,
Yes.
you actually share the model with a professional network for feedback.
Absolutely.
Before you make the
I
presentation.
validated it. And I got the best feedback from the UK, from South Africa. I got one from my head of marketing probably in the public university here. Excellent feedback. And I'll share my initial model and I'll tell you the augmentation they suggested after I shared the model. I'll do that. So I told them, M in marketing should mean master the art of succeeding daily. Because marketers, we don't succeed sometimes. We succeed every day. And we succeed because we master the science and the art of anticipating and satisfying customers at a profit. And profit is not always money. If it's a behavior change campaign and you want to lower AIDS and you want people to wear masks so they don't get COVID, the profit of the behavior change is also profit. So profit is not always money.
Okay.
So marketers, M means master the art of succeeding daily. Number two is A, abide under a code of market perceptiveness, technological sophistication, and customer value creation. So you know the market well, your tech sophistication is world-class, and the customer is always your central focus. So customer value creation is why you wake up on a daily basis to go to the workplace and create value. R means refrain from destructive, which is DRS, and destructive, which is DEST behavior.
So refrain from destructive and
You are destructive
behavior. Okay.
Destructive, you are destroying yourself. So both you have to avoid. So you must always ensure that you keep an unwavering focus on KPIs, dashboards, you measure, so that you don't deviate.
Just to remind you, and that is exactly what the book I mentioned earlier, The Focus by Al Rice,
That's the point we're making. Yes.
And you were right about the second book you mentioned,
Absolutely.
The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing.
Absolutely.
By Al Rice
Absolutely.
and Jack Trout.
Absolutely.
Now I remember.
Absolutely.
You were right.
Absolutely.
Okay, so continue. So avoid, refrain from
destructive and destructive behaviors.
Okay.
Both are things to avoid.
Yes.
Then the next one is K. Keep a steadfast watch on KPIs and a rigorous adherence to meeting and surpassing same. You see, marketers, we are like medical doctors. If you want to live long, you must know what your body is doing all the time. So the way we go for annual medical checkup, that's how we subject the organization to consistent checks. And you see, let me tell you what consistent check. It means that when you are there, you are close at 8:32 p.m. and you are walking from the 13th floor and you are going to your Maybach parked in the basement. If you see the porter misbehaving, talking rudely to somebody who's saying, but I came from Hong Kong, I didn't know the time difference. Can't you see the time? Why are you here at this time? No, I mean, you immediately begin to see that, this man's behavior could be affect your business on the 13th floor. You are totally unaware because you are CEO wearing pinstripe suit.
Oh,
so
Prof.
the formation, I'm telling you.
Prof, I beg you, that is okay. Prof, let me keep you on K for just a minute.
Absolutely.
And take it out of your time, please.
I'm here.
So I was training a rural bank.
Yes, please.
Several years ago.
Yes, please.
That made it to the Ghana Club 100.
Yes, please.
And it was a big thing. That was the first rural bank to ever achieve Ghana Club 100 status.
Absolutely.
And so after, I did a follow-up session with them and I asked what happened. And the MD said he happened to be passing by one of the staff who was on the phone telling the customer, but we don't do this. And then he asked, what don't we do? And apparently, this customer who was a massive cocoa merchant was asking them to make payments on his behalf to different people that he pays them some money every month, but it was not going to be through it couldn't be done through the channel like transfer the money.
Absolutely.
You have to physically take the money and go and pay this person on my behalf, pay this, and he's out of town. He's in a different part of town.
So he needs help.
And the salesperson was telling the man that, but we don't do that.
I'm not surprised.
He says, he paused and says, what don't we do?
Can you imagine?
Collected the phone and
said,
we do it.
That's
Before
it.
you ask me, hey, what is it?
Can you imagine?
What is it that you want?
Can you imagine?
He says, once the man was convinced that all his banking needs are met, he gave them all his business.
That is it.
And then spoke to all cocoa merchants in that part of the Western region.
That is it.
This bank is where you should do
That is it.
The next time, they were Ghana Club 100.
That is it.
So you are 100% spot on.
Albert.
With this 13th floor versus basement issue.
Reverend Albert, you don't know. Look, in Ghana, in Africa, forget Ghana. If we could properly estimate the amount of service failures that occur in moments of truth across our various institutions, we will not be shocked regarding why we don't meet targets. Because sometimes the science is good. Sometimes the route to market is fine. Sometimes the marketing plan is robust. But at the point where the rubber meets the road, there are some entities there like gods who are saying things like, we don't do this here. Please, we cannot help you.
Prof, promise me that you will come back and we'll do a whole session on recovery and reinvention.
I'll be very happy.
There are failed institutions that are hitting their heads against each other in boardrooms saying, but why, and wondering whether they can reinvent themselves, recover lost causes, salvage damaged reputations.
Yeah.
I think we must do a full session
on
when it has gone very wrong.
Absolutely.
And how to recover and reinvent an organization.
Oh.
Can we do that?
Too much. Plus, let me tell you why that will be imperative. In services market, we have something we call the service recovery paradox. Here's the way it works. When you have a problem and a company takes care of you, you have a request to take care of you, that's service delivery. And it's expected. When a calamity occurs and you need people to rally quickly and sort you out, and these people can recover magnificently, then you have what we call service delivery and service recovery. But you need a major problem to occur before recovery can be demonstrated. That's why it's called the service recovery paradox, because a paradox is not a normal thing. So you need problems to demonstrate recovery. But in service marketing, you need to have both to be classified as service champion.
Let me give you
Relationships.
another example again.
Go ahead.
About this country that I went to. This example will make people know which country it was.
Go ahead.
But it's important.
Yes.
So this country that we happened to be in not too long ago, the booking had been made, the money had been transferred, and as a result of a flood or an issue, there was a 1-day delay in the communication getting to this hotel. You get there, they say there's no booking.
Yes, please.
And then they find out that it was a mistake and you were at the place just for delaying you in confirming that you were coming there. They move you from a regular room to a suite that you did not pay for,
There
just
you go.
to compensate for the embarrassment of delaying you to find
That
out
is it.
you didn't really book. And I'm saying the swiftness with which the person on duty made that judgment call, it was not go to the MD.
No. They have rights to recover. And then
let's hold this for the next conversation.
Go ahead.
So you're on K now.
Absolutely.
Let's move to E.
So, okay. So E is expect challenges and plan ahead for them. Marketers always experience turbulence. Turbulence is normal. But there's not a single pilot that who announces we are going to crash because there's turbulence. No, I remember one particular pilot said, you know what? I see some turbulence. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to climb up a bit. When we go to that phase, I'll come down again. I was like, okay. I thought that the pilot was showing off, like, okay. I was like, you just have said we should sit down before. He actually said, you know, I'm going to go up a bit. When we go through that patch, I'll come down again. Like, totally confident, competent, calm, gets it. I say, yes, that's how a consummate marketer should be. Problems are supposed to come, but once the science is clear, the KPIs are clear, you know how to navigate them. And if short term you hit a bump, medium to long term you should recover. All said, a year should never pass by where you don't meet your targets. No. Forward-looking marketers don't do that. Once you hit...
Say that again.
A year should never pass by where you don't meet your sales, marketing, or brand communication targets.
What level of disruption is a good enough excuse not to meet your targets?
Even COVID doesn't qualify. You have to meet them. Because if by Q1 you didn't meet, you must start taking remedial action. If by half year you are way off, then you need to recalibrate quickly and make sure year end you are meeting them. Me, I don't know excuses because I wasn't trained with excuses.
T.
So T is take teamwork seriously and win by saying. World-class marketers don't win alone. They win by building resolute marketing teams who work assiduously to ensure that even when the leader is not around, the marketing clock works. Tick-tock. So you win through teamwork. And marketing is such a difficult subject area that if you don't have good teams, you won't do well. And in service marketing, we say a service chain is only as strong as the weakest link. So you must make strong efforts to ensure that John guy is not the one who causes the chain to break and the beast to fall off the string.
But you don't go on without addressing the issue of the weak link because...
Absolutely.
So let's deal with the law of the chain that says the team is as strong as the weakest link.
Absolutely.
What do you do when there is a weak link that repeatedly sets us all back?
Hey, I'm really shocked you asked me that question because I fought with my friend Prof Mercy at the University of Johannesburg on this particular issue because when I get to G is give all your team members ample chances for professional success, but deal ruthlessly with deviants and team destroyers. And Prof Mercy said, no, Jesus died for us, so you don't have to sack anybody. You don't deal with deviants. But you see, 1 Timothy 5:20 is clear. Let them sin repeatedly, punish openly, that the rest may stand in fear. Train them, Albert. Put them on performance improvement plans. Train them more. Train them again. But the problem with weak team members is that if you keep countenancing their poor performance, they'll drag the whole team back. Because the team will get to the point where they will think excellence doesn't matter anymore and mediocrity is being glorified. A marketing team should never get there.
So that's the answer.
That is it.
So the T and the G are in the same class.
Absolutely.
They are related.
Absolutely.
Let's go to I.
And Messi said, no, I know Christ died for us, but Christ is an excellent Christ. We don't have to be mediocre. So I initiate ideas fearlessly through blue ocean thinking. So blue ocean thinking is stuff that didn't exist. You imagine bringing to
Untapped resources.
Marketers are very innovative people. So they don't come to work expecting to conform. They conform as much as they can, but they always imagine a new future. And with tech, it's so easy to imagine a new future. Look, we haven't even gone to things like metaverse and going to buy advertising space in virtual formats, and maybe we could do that in another show. But marketers today, in this tech age, we are dreamers. So we are supposed to come with a very clear innovation streak. And whether it's in brand comms, whether it's in managing the trade, delighting end users, we must always have something new that creates higher value. Because when all is said, all those who can deliver a premium service can administer a premium charge. But it's difficult to maintain premium status if your innovation bent is not clear. N is, and that's the last one because you've done Jane. N is navigate markets, customers, and experiences with scientific rigor and clear insights. So I go back to the science again. The days of guessing what works in marketing, they are gone forever. We need deep market data, deep customer data, deep competitor data, deep technological insights in order to create true value for our various customer audiences today. That's where marketing is at today. Yes, please.
Can I clap for you?
Oh no, Robert, are you listening? That's
It's in all these conversations. Yes. I think I'm coming away from today with a very clear understanding that marketing is a science.
Yes, it is.
It's a science. Something that a good friend of mine was accused of several years ago, but which I admired him for.
Absolutely.
His name is Albert Migwa.
Absolutely.
Former CEO of Intercontinental Bank.
Absolutely.
And one of his staff said to me, that man is a very weird person.
Yes.
My good friend Albert Migwa could call you at 2 a.m.
Yes.
And he will not say, oh, sorry to wake you up. No.
What, sorry for what?
You pick the phone, no, you say, hey, that's your customer, no. When's the last time you saw them?
That is it.
And if you don't know and you lie, you say, oh, I was with them this week. He says, oh, yesterday I passed there at 12 noon.
That is it.
And they said they haven't seen you for a month.
That is it. That's how to manage an institution. I'm always working about.
Look, the day I heard that, I said this man is a genius.
That's how to manage an institution.
Before he asks you, he himself has checked up with the customer and knows that you've not been there for a month. So you are trying to spin that you've been there, you were there this week. And he says, no, I spoke to him earlier. He says, you've not been there for a month.
That is it.
How critical, and let's close with that. How critical is it for the head of any institution to understand the pulse points of what is happening on the ground?
Absolutely.
You call it weekend and how the guys are treating.
Absolutely.
How well must heads of institutions know their own organization and what is happening there to be able to do this marketing well?
So when we studied for the BSc admin marketing degree 2 or 3 decades ago, we came across this famous concept of management by walking around. It's a very famous concept. And all my life, that is what has guided any success I've achieved, because I keep my finger on the pulse. You see, look, there was a time when in one of the several investors I worked for, a guy didn't want to show up on a Saturday morning, and I said, no problem. I jogged from where I was to the classroom and said, I'm standing here, where are you? The guy was shocked. So I said, I'm here, where are you? The guy drove from his house to come and teach the students. I started by sharing a few ideas before he came, and he was shocked.
You would have told the subject if you didn't come.
I would straight away, consumer behavior, I don't need slides. I would have started by explaining the epistemological foundations and taking them through experiments, and I would have finished it for them. But sir, I think it's crucial, because more than pie charts and bar graphs and regression analysis and estimations, you need to have a first-hand feel of how the organization is growing, how it's metamorphosing, because it's a reality check for you yourself as chief executive. Because sometimes when you go in a very incognito manner, you find things which your C-suite might actually be impressed with when you share it with them, because they themselves might not be aware. So by all means, use the science. But there's a certain art and creativity that comes from immersing yourself and getting a first-hand feel of how the brand is developing, then you can combine that with the science behind the brand, then you ultimately be an excellent leader.
Let's talk about action. So we sat in my MBA class, and a lecturer who was teaching a class full of executives said, this thing that I'm teaching you, if you put me on the field to implement it, I can't do it. At the end of that class, everyone in that class, without exception, wrote that this was not right. He shouldn't have said that.
Wow.
And if he does not believe in himself that he can implement what he's saying, he can't teach us. The next class, he had been changed. That was Professor Stephen Ade. The next class, the lecture was changed.
Wow.
When we gather information or feedback on what goes wrong in our organizations, I'm going back to your G and your debate with Professor Messi.
Absolutely.
At what point must we take action when there is a clear sense from the customer that this, we won't take it?
Okay. So let me close on what the human capital people call competency frameworks. I found sometimes that people also don't get punished because whilst their marketing performances might be weak, organizations are not delivering them the skill mix they need to perform at the level they are expected to perform at. So it's very clear that for subdomains, like organizational subdomains like marketing, customer experience, sales, you also have a competency framework that shows that at entry level, this is the skill set you need. At intermediate level, this is what you need. At competent level, this is what you need. At master level, this is what you need. And then make sure that whilst we are pushing them for high numbers, we are training them adequately to deliver on those numbers, because it won't be fair to punish someone you haven't trained. But once the competency frameworks are set, the training interventions are administered, this guy or this lady misses the target first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, query must go out. But in the marketing policy of the institution as well, there should be clarity on what constitutes a trespass. Otherwise, it becomes arbitrary and people feel as if he is coming after me because last week I stood up to him in a meeting. So make sure the strategy is clear. Make sure the evaluation metrics are clear. Make sure the KPIs are clear. Make sure the shared values are clear. Make sure the skill sets are properly put in place. Then when there's constant deviation from the set targets, you can take action. Query in the initial instance and sack ultimately if nothing is changing. It is what it is.
Let's sign off, Prof, with a call to action to individuals, to organizations, to nations, to continents. And really, it's about one simple thing: the universality of marketing and why you can't avoid it in your...
We didn't even touch on nation branding. It's one of my favorite subjects because Africa needs serious help with nation branding, honestly.
Yeah.
Because we are so far behind in certain respects, and those who are ahead are still doing conscientious nation branding campaigns. And anyway, maybe another meeting.
I'll tell you, when we get to do that one, I'll tell you how I entered a particular country.
Okay.
And the 10 things that they will agree to or do and not do was at the airport. Before you enter our country, this is what we stand for.
There's clarity.
Let's sign off on the call to marketing as an essential part of the developmental paradigm and thinking of every single entity.
Okay, dear Africa, at individual level, you optimize every God-given potential you have if you are following a personal brand or marketing program. At institutional level, public sector, private sector, not-for-profit, marketing holds untold benefits. At country level, we need better nation branding regimes. ECOWAS needs to be better branded and marketed. And the continent itself, under the new Africa Continental Free Trade Area, should take marketing more seriously so that the economic fortunes we envisage will indeed be realized. Thank you and see you in part 2. Bye.
Prof, it is always it is what it is. It is what it is. It's always a joy to have you here on the Venture Investor. I want to say a big thank you to you for joining us for this conversation.
It's my pleasure, Kra.
And definitely we'll do this again. There are a few themes that we would like to explore. My name is Albert Ocran, and I want to say thank you on behalf of the Springboard Ratio Foundation and our partners MTN Ghana and the Enterprise Group, our media partners, the Multimedia Group and the Graphic Communications Group. So we come your way again with this extension of this conversation with Prof. I want to say God bless you, and God bless you.
He's a turn around. turn around.
Turning point. Yeah.